you remember seeing Jonathan?
Never saw him. That's the thing. Nobody in the neighborhood ever saw him.
Shocked. Oh, I didn't know they had a kid over there. Or a boy, whatever, man.
Never, ever saw the child. You think you know who you live next door to, and you don't.
A 26-year-old man with special needs is found buried in his own backyard. The grave is shallow, dug near a shed, the body wrapped in a simple camouflage blanket. And the people who put him there, the people who would later be charged with hiding his corpse, are his own mother and stepfather. The story of this family has been all over the news lately, and we can't help but wonder what really happened inside that house. What was that man's fate, and in his final moments? What truly unfolded behind those closed doors? This is Burleson, Texas, a city of 60,000 people just south of the sprawling Dallas-Fort Worth metroplex. It's a place that prides itself on community on Friday night, football games on family values. The crime itself took place on White Oak Lane, a street of sturdy, manicured brick homes. When you look at a street like White Oak Lane, you see comfort, you see normalcy, you see the backdrop for a quiet, unremarkable life. And that's exactly what neighbors saw when they looked at the home of December Mitchell and her husband Jonathan Mitchell. They were by all accounts the perfect neighbors. Betty Neola, who lived nearby, would later describe them in interviews, her voice laced with the kind of disbelief that only comes after a profound shock. The Mitchells were friendly. They were the kind of couple who waved over the fence, their smiles easy and unforced. They hosted weekend get-togethers, the sounds of laughter and sizzling barbecue drifting over the manicured lawns. Betty mentioned her kids coming over for dinner on Sundays. They were integrated. They were normal. But a facade is just that. A thin veneer. A mask. And behind the Mitchells' friendly waves and party invitations, a secret was festering. A secret kept in a back room. A secret that would eventually be buried in the earth. This is the story of Jonathan Kinman. Jonathan Kinman was 26 years old. He was December Mitchell's biological son from a previous relationship, and he lived in that house on White Oak Lane. And yet to the entire neighborhood, he was a ghost. He was an invisible man.
Never saw him. That's the thing. Nobody in the neighborhood ever saw him.
Never, ever saw the child.
Jonathan was not just an adult son living at home. He was a man with profound special needs. He suffered from a rare genetic disorder called Russell-Silver syndrome, a condition that affects growth and development. This syndrome often results in low birth weight, short stature, and distinctive facial features. While intellectual capabilities can vary, the condition brings with it a lifetime of physical challenges, and in many cases, a significant dependency on caregivers. Jonathan was small, he was vulnerable, and he was by all accounts completely dependent on his mother, December, and his stepfather, Jonathan. And this right here is the first crack in the facade. It's the first detail that sends a chill straight down your spine. The neighbors like Betty Neola were adamant. They told reporters, "Never have we ever..." Okay, think about that. This is not simply a private family choosing not to share. This is an active, daily, conscious erasure. The Mitchells would stand in their front yard, talking to neighbors, and according to those neighbors, they spoke only of their daughter. They spoke of their granddaughter. They presented a specific, curated version of their family. And the version they presented, the one they performed for their community, did not include Jonathan Kinman. He wasn't just hidden, he was deleted. I suddenly wondered, what did Jonathan really feel? Did he know his parents had basically erased him from their lives? God, that's just cruel beyond words. We don't know if he was capable of understanding his own erasure. Did he look out the window and see the barbecues he was never invited to? Did he hear the neighbors' voices, people who lived yards away but had no idea he even existed? The act of hiding a person is an act of profound dehumanization. It reduces them from a who to a what, from a son to a problem, from a family member to a secret. And as we will see, it is a very short, dark path from treating someone as a secret to treating them as disposable. The nightmare on White Oak Lane began to unravel as so many modern horrors do on social media. On a Saturday, October 14th, a digital bomb went off. A family friend of the Mitchells was scrolling through Facebook. I don't know this person's name, but they are the catalyst. They are the single most important figure in this story, the one person who perhaps knew of Jonathan's existence. They saw a post from December Mitchell. The post was a declaration her son, Jonathan Kinman, had passed away. Let's pause here. Let's analyze this moment. December, Mitchell, a woman who has successfully hidden her 26-year-old special needs son from her entire neighborhood, from the people she shares a fence with, suddenly decides to announce his death on the most public forum imaginable. Why? This isn't the behavior of a cold, calculating killer trying to cover their tracks. Someone trying to hide the truth doesn't draw attention to it. This is something different. It's chaotic. It's deeply conflicted. I think this is the act of a mind under immense, unbearable pressure. This feels like a soft launch of a death, a desperate, clumsy, almost childlike attempt to control a story spiraling out of her grasp. She's trying to build a digital paper trail, but she's writing with disappearing ink. It's not exactly a cry for help. It's a cry for closure. In her mind, if she says he's gone, then he is gone. It's also a staggering display of narcissistic control. She and she alone gets to decide when Jonathan exists. For years, she decided he didn't. Now, in death, she decides he does, but only on her terms, only in a way she can manage. But she made a critical error, a rookie mistake if you want to be cold about it. She added a detail, a specific, traceable, and ultimately fatal lie. In her post-December, Mitchell claimed that Jonathan had passed away at Texas Health Hughley Hospital. Why this lie? Why not just a vague, he passed in his sleep? Because a specific lie sounds more credible. It adds a veneer of legitimacy. It provides an official location, a place of authority. She's not just telling a lie, she's constructing an alibi. But when a family friend saw the post, something didn't sit right. You can call this the human moment, the one thing that separates instinct from indifference. They didn't just comment, "So sorry for your loss," or drop a sad emoji and move on. No, their gut told them something was off. The whole thing felt wrong, the sudden post about someone no one had seen in a while. So instead of scrolling past, they picked up the phone and they called the Burleson Police Department to ask for a welfare check. So what did that friend really suspect? Did they just think the death was sudden? Or did they already harbor a deeper, darker fear about Jonathan's life inside that house? The fact that they called the police rather than just offering condolences speaks volumes. Officers were dispatched to the house on White Oak Lane. There are no sirens. It's a simple knock and talk. They knocked on the door of the friendly party hosting Mitchell's. December Mitchell answered. I don't know where her husband Jonathan Mitchell was at this exact moment. Was he standing just behind her in the shadows of the hallway? Was he in the backyard? Was he already starting to distance himself? We only know that December spoke to the police, and she lied, right to their faces. She repeated the story she had tested on Facebook. Yes, her son Jonathan had passed away at Texas Health Hughley Hospital. It was tragic. The officers presumably asked for documentation, a death certificate, a coroner's report, the name of a funeral home. Something. December had an answer for that too, an answer that a screaming red flag she told them Jonathan would be cremated. Let's be perfectly clear, that single word, cremated, is damning. It's not a statement of fact, it's a statement of intent. If he's cremated, there's no body to find, no grave to discover, no evidence to exhume. She's not just grieving, she's problem solving. She's thinking about logistics. She's thinking about how to make the evidence disappear. This is not the mind of a mother lost in sorrow. This is the mind of a person in the middle of a cover-up. She told officers she had no documentation of his passing. Nothing. Okay, now imagine you are one of those officers. You're standing on the doorstep of a neat suburban home. A woman is telling you her son just died, but she has no paperwork. No funeral home is involved. She's claiming he died at a specific local hospital. Her story is full of holes. You can feel the static in the air. You know something is wrong. The officers left White Oak Lane, but they didn't close the file. They called Texas Health Hughley Hospital. The hospital's reply was swift and definitive. They had no record, no patient named Jonathan Kahneman, no death, no documentation, nothing. The entire story was a fabrication. This is the moment the case turns. The welfare check has now officially become a criminal investigation. December. Mitchell hasn't just been uncooperative. She has been caught in a material prosecutable lie. But the police aren't the only ones applying pressure. That family friend, the one who made the initial call, is apparently still working in the background. Tuesday, October 14th. Inside that brick house on White Oak Lane, the atmosphere must have been suffocating. The air must have been thick with panic. The police had come and gone. They knew the hospital story was a lie. The family friend had delivered an ultimatum. The lies were collapsing in real time. December and Jonathan Mitchell were trapped. This is the classic prisoner's dilemma. Do they stick together, bound by their terrible secret, and hope for the best? Or does one of them break first to save themselves? I got our answer. A 911 call came into the Burleson Dispatch. The caller was not the family friend. It was the stepfather, Jonathan Mitchell. Let's really paint a picture of this man, Jonathan Mitchell. He is not the biological father. He's the stepfather. He's the man who, according to neighbors, never once mentioned his 26-year-old special needs stepson. He's the man who is at a bare minimum complicit in the erasure of Jonathan Kinman's life. And now he picks up the phone. I've listened to a lot of 911 calls in my time. They are by their very nature raw. They are amplifiers of panic, grief, or cold, hard calculation. We don't have the audio for this one, but the warrant tells us what he said. He reportedly told authorities that he had learned that his wife had buried her boy in the backyard. The language. My God, the language. It's not we have a problem. It's not my son is dead. It's not we did something terrible. It's she did it. Her boy. This to me does not sound like the call of a shocked husband suddenly discovering a terrible truth. This sounds like strategy. This sounds like a man trying to get ahead of a story he knows is about to break. As homicide detective Eric Barnes stated in his analysis of the case, this is pure self-preservation. The family friend's ultimatum had expired. He knew the police were coming back. This call is his alibi. He is drawing a thick black line in the sand, placing himself on one side and his wife December on the other. He is attempting to paint himself as just another victim of his wife's horrific secret act. He's not a participant, he's a witness. He's not a co-conspirator, he's a shocked husband. He's making a desperate bid to save himself. But if you think that's complex, if you think that's calculating, just wait. Because what Jonathan Mitchell did before he made that 911 call is perhaps the most chilling, contradictory, and psychologically fascinating piece of this entire puzzle. At 6:35 p.m. on October 14th, before the police returned around the same time this 911 call was being made, Jonathan Mitchell, the stepfather, posted his own message on Facebook. A message about the loss of his stepson. His post read, in part, "So even at your strongest, certain things can make a man a father and friend break you down to your core. I loved you so much more than I can express, even if I didn't always show it. But my heart is broken in pieces right now, and I cannot contain the hurt I'm feeling for you right now. I know you're in a better place, but it still hurts. I'm speechless. I really am. Let's juxtapose these two actions. Let's hold them up to the light. Action A. He calls 911 and allegedly tells police he just learned his wife buried her son. He frames himself as an outsider, a shocked, horrified observer. Action B. He posts a poetic, flowery, grieving father message on Facebook, mourning the loss of a son he loved so much more than I can express. You cannot do both. These two realities cannot coexist. If he had truly just learned that his wife had hidden his stepson's body in the backyard, his reaction wouldn't sound like this. It wouldn't be a calm, sentimental eulogy. It would be horror. It would be confusion. It would be rage. You don't post, "I know you're in a better place, but it still hurts when that place is right behind your own house." This post wasn't meant for his friends. It was his alibi, a performance. Carefully staged grief for a future audience, the police, a jury, maybe even his own family. He was desperately, awkwardly trying to paint himself as a loving, grieving father. Let's dissect this performance. So even at your strongest, certain things can make a man a father and friend break you down to your core. He's centering himself. He's not talking about Jonathan. He's talking about his own strength, his own pain. He's a man, a father, and friend, all the roles he wants the world to see him as. I loved you so much more than I can express, even if I didn't always show it. This line is the retroactive alibi. This is the tell. He knows he didn't show it. He knows the neighbors will say they never saw him with the kid. So he's preemptively excusing the years of neglect and erasure. I did love him, I just didn't show it. It's a confession masquerading as a lament. But my heart is broken in pieces right now. Again, his heart. His pain. I know you're in a better place. This is the most obscene line of all. If he knows as he must that Jonathan's body is in the backyard, this line is a grotesque, cynical piece of manipulation. He's talking to a digital audience, not to his stepson. This is a man who is not grieving Jonathan Kinman. He's grieving the end of his normal, perfect neighbor life on White Oak Lane. This is a man who is deeply, profoundly entangled in this cover-up. His 911 call wasn't a confession. It was a betrayal. He and December were in the boat together, and he just threw her overboard to save himself. The complexity here is astounding. These aren't just bad people. This is a portrait of a marriage, a dark, twisted codependency. These are two people, a husband and wife, now locked in a silent, desperate battle against each other, all while the police are pulling up to their curb. Armed with December's lie and Jonathan Mitchell's 911 call, the Burleson police returned to White Oak Lane. This time, it wasn't a welfare check. This was a search. The flashing blue and red lights cut through the suburban darkness, painting the brick houses in brief, stark flashes of red and blue. Neighbors like Betty Neola were watching the illusion of their quiet, safe street shattering with every slam of a car door. And this time, the police brought a specialized tool, a tool that cannot be lied to. K9 units, cadaver dogs. If you've never seen a cadaver dog work, it's a chilling and solemn thing. These dogs aren't like the barking, aggressive patrol dogs you see in movies. They are methodical, focused, and quiet. They are trained to detect the specific complex gases of human decomposition, even through feet of soil. And for December and Jonathan Mitchell, the arrival of these dogs was the end of the game. You can lie to a police officer. You can delete a Facebook post. You can try to scrub a room clean. But you cannot lie to a dog's nose. The truth is in the air. The officers fanned out across the property. The Mitchells were at this point detained. They were likely separated. The warrant states that December Mitchell was in a patrol car, and that car had a camera running. The dog handlers led their partners across the yard, past the barbecue pit, past the patio furniture, towards a shed in the back of the property. And then it happened. The dog alerted. The signal is often subtle, a sit, a paw, a change in breathing. But for the handler, it is a definitive, heartbreaking confirmation. The dog was signaling that human remains were right there in the earth. Inside the patrol car, December Mitchell was watching. She saw the dog go to the spot. She saw the officers converge. She knew the lie was over. And this is our second small surprise. A moment of raw, unfiltered truth captured by the emotionless, objective eye of a police dashboard camera. This is what's known in legal terms as an excited utterance. December, Mitchell began to speak. The camera recorded her reportedly saying to her husband Jonathan, who was either in the car with her or nearby, "It was all me. That dog was going in to find him. It was all me." Think about this statement. Just think about it. We just analyzed her husband's 911 call, his Facebook post, all of it designed to throw her under the bus, to paint her as the lone monster. And now her first instinct is to save him, to take the full blame, to confirm his alibi. What is this? Is this the final twisted act of a manipulative mother? I was in charge. I'll take the fall. Is it the act of a wife, perhaps a co-conspirator, perhaps an abused or coerced partner? We simply don't know who is trying to protect her husband. Or is it something else? Is it arrogance? Is it the ultimate act of a narcissist? He couldn't have done this. I did this. It was my plan, my secret. She has been the director of this entire hidden world for so long that she cannot even at the end share the credit or the blame. It was her son, her secret, and therefore her crime. Their relationship is a vortex. It's a dark, collapsed star. It's impossible to tell where her agency ends and his begins. But she wasn't done. As the reality of the scene washed over her, the digging, the discovery, the end of her life as she knew it, she said more. The words just spilled out. A confession, not to the police, but to the darkness of the patrol car. I did this. This was my decision. The language of agency, the language of control. My decision. This wasn't an accident she was covering up. This wasn't a moment of panic. She is owning the act. And then she delivered the line, "I'm sorry. I just wanted him close to me. I just wanted him close to me." What does that mean? Let's analyze this from a psychological perspective, because this is the crux of her entire defense, her entire personhood. Possibility A. The innocent, twisted maternal grief. Is it possible that Jonathan Kinman passed away from natural causes, maybe complications of his Russell Silver syndrome, and that his mother, December, a woman who had built her entire life around being his sole caregiver, who had isolated herself and her son from the world, simply broke, that she couldn't bear to let him go, that she couldn't bring herself to call the authorities and have them take him away to a cold, sterile facility. So in a grief-stricken, fractured state of mind, she chose to keep him close, physically, symbolically, tragically. It's a narrative, the kind of story a defense attorney dreams of. It paints her not as a monster, but as a mother consumed by sorrow. A story of love twisted into madness, a heartbreaking scenario of a mind pushed far past its breaking point. It's the final act of erasure, hiding him not just from the neighbors, but from the entire world, permanently. Which one do you believe, the grieving, broken mother, or the cold, controlling possessor? The evidence found inside the house gives us our answer. As officers began this grim, delicate task of exhuming the shallow grave near the shed, a second team of investigators entered the home. They executed their search warrant. They went to Jonathan Kinman's room. What they found was not the room of a person who had recently died. It was not a room of a cherished son. The affidavit states that Jonathan's room appeared completely cleared out. Completely cleared out. Items had been removed. Furniture was gone. The room was a blank, sterile box. It was the room of a person who had been erased. This changes everything. This is not the act of a grieving mother in a moment of panicked sorrow. This is the act of a person methodically, meticulously, and consciously destroying evidence. You don't clear out an entire room scrubbing it down in a fit of grief. You do it to hide a crime. The grave chills you. The room horrifies you. The burial might have been a panicked, desperate act, but the erasure, that took time. That took effort. That took thought. That took bleach. That took garbage bags. That took a plan. And then the investigators found the one thing they couldn't scrub away, the one thing they couldn't bleach: the mattress. The mattress that had been in the room reportedly showed signs of and smelled like human decomposition. He didn't die in the backyard. He didn't die at the hospital. All signs point to Jonathan Kinman dying in that room on that mattress. And he was left there long enough for his body to begin the decomposition process, long enough for the smell to permeate the very fibers of the mattress. Now let's go back to the husband. Let's go back to Jonathan Mitchell, the man who just found out, the man who called 911 in performative shock. You are telling me, you are asking me to believe that you lived in this house, that you slept in this house, that you ate and watched TV and hosted barbecues in this house, all while the unmistakable, unforgettable, all-pervading smell of human decomposition was emanating from your stepson's bedroom. The questions left behind are haunting. How long had he been gone before that Facebook post on October 14th? Days, weeks, months? And what truly happened to him? And perhaps the most haunting question of all, what was his life like? This is where the story pivots from a simple true crime case to a profound social indictment. The neighbors' statements. Never saw the kid. All they ever talk about is their daughter and their granddaughter. This tells me that Jonathan Kinman was a ghost in his own home long before he died. He was hidden. He was a source of what? Shame, resentment. Was he just a burden to them? A 26-year-old secret that ruined their image of the perfect suburban family? We don't know. But the act of hiding a human being is an act of profound dehumanization. And it's a very short walk from dehumanization to neglect. And from neglect to worse. Jonathan's biological father's family, the Kinmans, released a statement. Their words are a portrait of agony. We were horrified to hear the news about our precious Jonathan. This is a living nightmare for the Kinman family. Please know that we are in full cooperation with law enforcement, and we will fight for every last ounce of truth and justice to come to light for the sake of our sweet boy. Our precious Jonathan. Our sweet boy. To them, he wasn't a secret. He was loved. He was cherished. This raises a new set of agonizing questions. Were they kept from him? Did they try to see him? The legal and familial complexities here are a web we can't even begin to untangle yet, but it proves that he was visible. He was loved, just not, it seems, by the people he lived with. This statement is a powerful rebuke to the idea that Jonathan was an unlovable burden. He was only a burden to the people who chose to see him that way. This case also rips the bandage off a much larger systemic wound, the vulnerability of the special needs community. The Center for ASD Autism Spectrum Disorder in Burleson, a group that provides services to this exact community, released a statement. It is a powerful, heartbreaking plea. They wrote, "Though the Center for ASD did not know Jonathan, our hearts go out to his family and friends. We cannot speculate as to what happened, but we know that this individual deserved better. As a community, as a city, and as a state, we need to show up better for this vulnerable population." And then they provided the context that might explain the pressure, if not the crime. They don't just go away. A 17-year wait list. This is the societal pressure cooker. This is what happens when a vulnerable person and their caregivers fall through the cracks. The system fails them. The funding dries up. The support vanishes. The family becomes a closed loop, an island. The pressure builds, and with no outlet, no support, no respite, what happens to that family? What happens to the caregivers? Love can curdle into resentment. Resentment can curdle into neglect, and neglect ultimately can lead to erasure. This does not in any way excuse what happened on White Oak Lane. It does not excuse the lies, the smell on the mattress, or the camouflage blanket in the shallow grave. But it contextualizes the unbearable pressure that can exist behind a smiling facade. It provides a why. Why was he a secret? Because perhaps the Mitchells felt they were completely and totally alone. And in that isolation, they built a fantasy life, a life where they were just the perfect neighbors, a life that did not include the difficult reality of Jonathan, and they valued that fantasy more than his life. In that isolation, a monstrous decision was made. I did this. This was my decision. The case of Jonathan Kinman is a living nightmare, as his family said. It's a story about a house of horrors hiding in plain sight. It's about the lies we tell others and the lies we post on Facebook. It's about the complex, dark dance of codependency and betrayal between a husband and a wife. But more than anything, it's about a 26-year-old man who was made invisible. The ultimate cause of death will, I believe, tell the final story. If the ME finds he died of neglect, starvation, or blunt force trauma, then this is a story of pure evil. If they find he died of natural causes, this is a story of a cover-up that is in its own way just as evil, because it prioritized the preservation of a normal life over the dignity of a human being. It means they found him dead, and their first thought wasn't grief. It was, how do we hide this? The lesson here is not simple. It's not, don't lie to the police. The lesson is that a secret can be a heavy thing, but the secret of a person is a crushing, toxic weight. Jonathan Kinman deserved to be seen. He deserved to be known. He deserved to be honored in death, not hidden like a piece of trash. His mother said she wanted him close, but her actions, the cleared out room, the lies, the shallow grave, they all show she only wanted him gone. So what's the takeaway for us? Look out for the invisible people. We are all neighbors to someone. We all see the houses on our street, and we assume we know what's inside. We don't. Check on your neighbors. Check on the vulnerable. The system is broken. The wait lists are 17 years long. Sometimes the only safety net a person has is the community, the family friend who saw that Facebook post and made a call. They are the unsung hero of this story. They broke the silence. They saw a lie, and they questioned it. Sometimes a single question is all it takes to stop a nightmare, or in this case, to finally bring one to light. The case against December and Jonathan Mitchell will proceed. The truth of what happened in that silent, cleared-out room will be fought over by lawyers and experts. But for Jonathan Kinman, the fight is over. He is no longer the invisible son of White Oak Lane. He is now a name we all know, a name that demands justice. Every case hides a truth, and every silence hides a scream. If this story shook you, tap like and subscribe to follow the next investigation. We'll keep digging where others choose to look away.